Tuukka from a family office in Finland that will talk about their experience in tokenization. They've been looking into this for quite some time, and Tuukka will also give us some maybe reflections on the future of tokenization, looking a little bit forward. Isn't that right, Tuukka?
Yeah, that's quite right. Thank you, Jacob. So good afternoon from Finland also from my behalf, and we have heard some really interesting insights so far. And like I said, I will make a short presentation of our pilot project of tokenizing a single asset real estate company here in Finland. So this is also a sort of a non-technical, like a ground level perspective. So I will share my presentation. Hopefully you can all see it now.
It seems to work. I can see it.
Yeah. So like I said, our company is APK-Kiinteistöt Oy, which is a terrible Finnish word, which basically means APK real estate. And like I said, we are a family office real estate developer and investor. My name is Tuukka Korolainen, and I've been CEO of this company since 2011, and I'm also entrepreneur in a couple of other companies as well. My background in university is from industrial engineering and management, and also finance, and at the moment I think I have some 10-year experience in real estate projects of different types. What we work on in our company is real estate development. So we mainly do development projects on commercial and public service real estate here in Finland. We also invest in other small to medium-sized retail and care properties, as well as these public service properties. So that is our background, and of course, like Jacob said, we've been following the tokenization scene for quite some time, and we really want to be like early adopters, first movers in this sense, and really pilot how this could work for us and find the proper business cases for our kind of company. Then a few words about the project. So this is our current R&D project of tokenizing a single asset real estate company here in Finland, and this is something that we have been working on during the second half of this year mainly, and hopefully we will get something finished in the first quarter next year. First, a couple of motivations for this project, and the first one is that in our experience, the market of these small to medium-sized commercial properties, let's say from 1 to 10 million euros in scale, the market is really inefficient. These properties are often too expensive for the individual retail investors, and usually too small for most of the funds. So the amount of players working with these properties is quite low. And of course, as we all know in real estate, the transaction costs are quite high, and also we have many other barriers for entering the market. In this during this year, the COVID-19 time, we have seen that in the stock market, the stock picking has for many investors been very worthwhile, because different companies have been able to handle the crisis very differently. And similarly, in the real estate setting, we have seen that understanding the local business environment in real estate investment has become more and more important, especially in these small to medium-sized investments. This is one more driver why we see that demand for fractionalization and more local investing is picking up, especially when we're talking about these, so to say, second-tier cities outside the most important growth centers, where the market is even less liquid, let's say. The other motivation regarding the technology, we have studied different kinds of real estate crowdfunding ideas and platforms during the past years, and the conclusion is that the blockchain technology has the most promise to deliver the level of automation and quick settlement times, cost efficiency through disintermediation and liquidity that the effective fractionalization would require. With our pilot project, we want to test the tokenization for future business cases, basically. A few words about the situation or setup in Finland at the moment. Special purpose vehicles like limited liability companies are very often used for owning and operating a single property real estate assets, as I would guess in many other countries also. And from the jurisdiction perspective, we have since last year into force this Finnish Act on virtual currency providers that imposes some obligations on virtual currency providers, such as registration with the Financial Supervisory Authority. This is something that we need to bear in mind when we conduct things that even remotely relate to the field of tokens and tokenization. Well, in my knowing, there are no tokenization cases of real estate property SPV companies in Finland, so this is quite untouched territory in that sense. We have used a lot of time in studying different tokenization possibilities especially from the legal perspective in the Finnish context, such as equity, debt, and the sort of a hybrid tokenizations. For different types of business cases, we find that debt and hybrid tokens have the most opportunities, but we still have chosen equity tokens and direct ownership to be the most straightforward starting point for our own project, because the control and management issues regarding these equity tokens are, during the Limited Liability Company Act, the most standardized and most well understood in our opinion. We, like I said before, we also see an increasing demand, especially from local investors, to these types of properties we work with, but the ticket sizes are too high. And also the liquidity, like we have heard in the previous presentation, is really problematic, but also the governance of these companies without any automation if there are many participants. So overall, the regulatory environment for these types of tokenization project is yet to be tested, but we need to take the act on virtual currency providers into account. And of course, in our project, we want to cooperate with the supervisory authority as much as needed. So what we are doing is we're tokenizing a limited liability company owning a single commercial property. The to be tokenized company is and stays in our sole ownership, while the ownership is digitalized by changing the representation of the outstanding shares to blockchain. The tokens will be issued, held, and managed in a closed network platform, so we don't intend to trade with the tokens in the first place. the governance and compliance will be digital and automated on the platform. Something regarding the goals. So first of all, we want to study how efficient and automated the governance and compliance of a real estate company can be in the tokenization platform with smart contracts, programmatically paid cash flows, etc. Secondly, we want to measure the cost of tokenization, running and transaction costs to know what kind of business cases we can build on this. Third, we want to study the business opportunities related to this fractional ownership and tokenization services for real estate. We really want to learn, can this development be beneficial from our company's perspective, and what kind of business opportunities can be recognized, and is there a potential demand for tokenization related services here in Finland? We of course also have some question marks. We want to get answers with this pilot project, and one of them is to evaluate how often the business goals of a tokenization project will be met. This is of course something that is important for us. We want to see what advantages will eventually be delivered to the market participants. In this first project, we evaluate this for ourselves, basically. We want to see the costs and evaluate how big is the market in our territory for this kind of fractionalization. And for future considerations, like there has been in many of the presentation, the main benefits, fractionalization, automation, cost efficiency and settlement times are of course the goals we are seeking for, but with these pilots and finding benchmarks all over the world, we want to see how is the demand side picking up, how are the investor skills related to the investments we are offering, how does the valuation go when the liquidity is picking up, is there a premium, or how does it go? So these kind of main themes are behind this pilot, and we of course want to see with our pilot project which questions we can answer at this point, and of course then see through for the first real business cases in our setting. Yeah, thanks. That was all from my side.
Thank you very much, Tuukka. Looking forward to follow you. Maybe we should have another follow-up on this webinar in a year to see how your project is going.
Yeah, hopefully less than a year.
Yes, and actually, I would use your reflections and presentation to maybe put an answer to the other panelists, because I think today so far we heard a lot about the supply side, you know, and the barriers for putting tokenized real estate on the market.